Good day and welcome to Lifestyle Show. My name is Satama Fukati and today I'm chilling with Barba, Keletso, Gaoganediwe, one of our best tourism experts. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Barba to the studio. My brother.
You know, you are the first person ever in Gauteng who has called me with my government engine number. You know, I actually even forget that my other name is Keletso, but it's a beautiful name.
I was thinking, yes, I was going through it and I'm saying,
Yeah.
but why does Baba never ever use the name Keletso?
Yeah, I love it. It's actually
Even the meaning.
it's a unisex name also, so it fits both genders, Keletso, but it's also I like things. I exhume. I'm in Gauteng. I exhume lifestyle. I guess that's why I'm in a lifestyle show.
Tata, Lifestyle Show. Baba, firstly, we don't know who Baba is. I know who Baba is, but the
Yeah.
people out there don't know who Baba is. You have conquered Northwest, you conquered Gauteng, and in 2010, you conquered the whole world. Who should we say Baba is?
Oh, it's a very complicated bab. I'm a Gemini, ne? So you know Gemini are twins by nature. So I can confirm me, and I wanna keep it that way. But overall, I'm an ordinary, humble South African who likes, you know, is very patriotic about his country. I like being African. I like learning. I like teaching. I like empowering. I'm generally. I regard myself as an evangelist and an activist. I regard myself as a change agent, and I'm one of the cohort that are ready to change the world. I'm not happy with how the world is set up. I don't think that God Almighty Creator created this world to be like this, to be so divided, to be so polarized. And there's just so much in this world that can keep us happy. You know, our sports, our music, our entertainment, our flora, our fauna, which should really be keeping this world very far from fights, conflict, poverty, and the like. So, in a nutshell, that's what I am. I regard myself as this evangelist, change agent.
I like that name.
Yeah, no, that's what I do.
Chief Destination Marketing Evangelist.
I gasa in that.
I love that. Okay, you were born in Northwest.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But now you are leading Gauteng in tourism.
Yeah.
Gauteng is known because of you. Obviously, it's been there, but you've been working there for quite some time. And you've had a lot of campaigns. What made you leave Northwest to come and live in Gauteng?
Oh, that's a huge accolade. I take it with all the humility, but I don't think Gauteng is known because of me. I'm just a small fry in the bigger scheme of things. I mean, every child.
But didn't you start that campaign? It starts here.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And that's one of my brainchilds.
Yes.
So it's one of my defects, ne? Abanketsa ko factory. It's inability to speak about myself.
Yeah.
So when I say we and the like, understand it's in that
Yes.
context. Bankhouse the I
No.
part.
It doesn't
ne?
work because it makes you look and sound pompous.
Yeah. Probably 3 hours old. So the every child, even now, that is born either in Matatiele, in Lumanyaning, a child that is born in Makaraj, a child that is born in Lagos, a child that is born in Blantyre, can't wait to come to Johannesburg, Gauteng. It's an inspirational city. And from time immemorial, when the guys that came in here set up as a gold town, that is why even when you are in competitive sports or any competitive activity, the actual prize that you win for first prize is gold. So when they say a place is place of gold.
So you were driven by gold to come into Gauteng?
No, actually, it's not even here. There's no gold. I was driven by the desire to play in another level.
But you had a beautiful and
Exactly.
your position in Northwest.
Yeah,
You didn't have a reason to come here.
You know, when
Yeah,
when
like from where you started, when
Yeah,
you got to
and
Gauteng, it's like it was a downgrade in a
yes,
way.
yeah. But for me, like I was saying, it has never been about position. It's always been about responsibility, where you stand a better chance of making a bigger impact. So I didn't just come to Gauteng in 2006. I studied in Gauteng. I studied at the then TNT, Technical Nice Times.
We used to come perform for you
that time
guys.
when we were during the festival at
Yeah.
the Kojak
You were
Stadium,
there.
I was there. I was in the SRC. We were coordinating all of those things. So that was one. We call it the University of Life. Produce your Greg Malokas, your Ashifa Shabas, your AK Shabalalas, your
The list is endless.
the list is endless. You know that institution.
I think it's not even given the props it deserves.
Absolutely. I was talking to the colleagues at the Media and Development Agency, the CEO there, and saying, you are responsible for community media. Do you know that the first community radio station in South Africa that operated in 1992, 1993 was Radio TNT. It operated illegally. We put in an antenna at the top of the water tower and managed to get a signal. And we
Are you aware at some point there was a board member there?
Yeah, you know, oh yes, at the development agency. So I was talking to her and saying, it's was celebrating 35 years or something. And I was saying, I would be really interested to see. So I studied there. So I have been in Pretoria for 3 years before I went back home. So I used to leave Shoshanguve, get into a taxi, and go to Pretoria to Stelland to watch a movie or make groceries and go back to campus. So I've seen the toils, I've seen the tribulation in this space. We used to illegally borrow the vehicle of the university and go to Gemini in
Karankura. And it's not far, really.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
it's
far.
just around the corner.
So we'll go there in the evening, go
Baba,
party.
so you know Gemini?
No, I know Gemini.
Wow.
We used to rock there, and then we will come back to campus only to realize when we were stopped by the cops that the car's disc has long expired, like 6 months ago, you know, and we are students, you know. But that's what just drills me. So when now I'm in Gauteng and I'm supposed to promote musical GP and the lifestyle and the like, it's not something I get papelang. I have lived.
So you've lived the
I've
life.
seen these things. I've seen its impact. We speak about Gemini. You can imagine if Gemini was right there now, what will it be doing for the economy of Klipgat and that specific area? Because it's a legendary club.
Yes.
It's a legendary
And
club.
a lot of people don't know about Gemini.
So-
and
so-
we are not telling those stories.
We're not telling those stories. You can imagine back then, Arthur, when DJs were going there with the records, there was content creation like it is now, documenting the stories. You will be having a Gemini Netflix series.
Yes.
Easy, you know, with
Because all of us were traveling to Gemini.
absolutely, with multiple, you
You
know,
would swear there were no
episodes.
clubs here.
Yeah. This reminds me, so out of my tourism, and I'll come back to your point. So out of my tourism experience, so we get to Berlin. You know, Berlin is a musical.
Germany, ne?
Yeah, Germany, Berlin. So they host the biggest travel and tourism show in the world. Close to 300,000 trade media and everybody attends that show. So after the stuff, I'm with the late, may his soul rest in peace. He was with us in the 2010. Jermaine,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
Jermaine,
Oh.
you know.
She's passed on.
He passed on during COVID time. So we get there. There's this club. It's said to be the biggest club in the world. So the club opens at 11 at night. The queue starts at 6:30 in the evening to get to the club.
Yeah.
So you queue for that they open at 11. So we were queuing.
So that at least you make it inside.
I'll tell you the story. So we queue, and it's us South Africans, and we queue up until we get into the to the main entrance after 4 or 5 hours. So there's this huge guy. He just looks at you and just say yes. So if he says that, you don't get in.
Why?
And he just looked at us and just said that.
What?
And that's after 4 hours. We were so pissed.
And you tried to explain in English, he's not hearing you.
No, it doesn't. That only to realize later that's actually how it's done, and that's how the club is known. You'll be lucky to get in, so that's why people queue, and he doesn't have to explain anything to everyone. So you could imagine how people actually don't mind traveling to that Berlin club, whether they are in or not.
As long as they're in the vicinity.
They want to see that experience. They are going to try their luck to get in. And we had a Gemini that was open, accessible to everyone. And I said, that's how we underplay, the heritage and the legacy that we have. So Barba, coming out of health and a very technically driven, I was adopted by my mentor, the late Dr. Molefisi Fularo, may his soul rest in peace.
That is Fularo.
Yeah, that is Fularo. I was his spokesperson, and he mentored me. I remember first day at work when I was appointed, he asked me to come to the house.
Such a humble guy.
He invited me over for dinner, and then I got in there. There's the family, says, Baba, this is my wife, these are my kids. You can't be speaking for me, and you don't even know where I stay. You don't know my kids. And then, by the way, here is a library full of books. It's open for you. I will never forget that moment, because for me it was clear that I can't be speaking on behalf of this doctor, an activist and intellectual, without the knowledge. So he says, my library, it's open for you. So I was coming from that space of health, and then well drilled in there. But I actually also just got married then. Now in the month of September, as it finished 20 years in marriage, and my wife was in Pretoria. And many others said, "When about you?" So I moved out of Mafeking
to come and live in Gauteng.
to come and live Gauteng. But it's a decision I don't regret. But that has not taken the passion I have for my hometown.
But what I love
out
about
of
you,
me,
is whenever there's a big concert or a big occasion in Northwest, Barba will always be there.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's never taken my passion. That place.
You are still rooted.
Yeah, that place. Arthur, that place. I remember there was a Tlamorin Dam, and there's a fascinating story. And there were TNT crew, and guess what? Who led? We actually had a stock fail.
Yeah.
And it was actually led by the former Premier Supra Mahuma Pelu, and a group and a whole cohort, the late Fantasy. And we actually gazetted. The other guy, Shelud, is the CEO of the Northwest Development Corporation.
Gazette,
yeah, Kolega.
Yes, Kolega decided to put them together.
And we actually hosted you for the December festival, and it was called the Oi Oi New Year's Eve, at the release of the Oi Oi song. That festival was organized out of Mugaza.
And my pants were torn.
On stage. So that's how far back.
You're embarrassing me now, you.
So that's how far back.
So you were involved there.
Yeah. So it was a group of us. And because it was December, and we're all back home.
Wow.
So and that's how it started.
I'm actually shocked. I've got goosebumps.
So every time. When it's now Honorable Mahuma Pelu in Parliament there, starts singing. You must also check. He likes singing. He gets
he's always there. He knows everybody's song, by the way.
By the way, when he sings and does his remixes, you must listen to him.
Yeah.
He always hoi in oi oi.
Yes.
It comes,
a whole premier of a province.
Yes.
Every time and I said,
no.
Supra, are you doing this because you buy my face or what? He loves oi oi. Why?
No, it comes from there. That's why
because of that festival.
That festival that we coordinated. It's the first time I'm actually telling the story. I've known the story, but I have never actually had an opportunity to reveal it. You are exclusively getting it from this show.
I'm call him
today. That's how he likes remixing the oi oi. So so I will always be there. So once Maftown is not just a name or a place; it's a culture. It's a place.
There's a rich history there.
But also because of apartheid, and I was explaining to others, the Radio Bob TV actually had a presence in Soweto. The antenna of Radio Bob was just outside Garamkua. But funny enough, it will jump all the other towns and beam in Soweto. Very funny
A
arrangement.
station with a mind of its own.
So we grew up in that space of music. We first saw music videos before the rest of South Africa. So when SABC started playing music videos, we have long seen that thing because the sanctions will have blocked the apartheid South Africa from accessing that. Then they got syndicated to Bob TV, which was said to be independent.
Because we used to travel there for
Yes.
performances.
Absolutely.
There was a studio.
Yeah.
Guys, but how do you feel about, Mafikeng at the moment when you've always lived there and you've seen how it was and what it is now?
Look, it's a very long story. It's very bad. The state is very bad. There's no explanation. Everybody else involved failed. Us, probably all of us, including myself, we failed our city, and there's absolutely no explanation. The only explanation we can do is to recalibrate ourselves, organize ourselves, and bring it back. That's the only thing. But also, we also have very passive people, and I've always said it, and some of them are my relatives, and they're like, and it's also built into the Botswana culture. Go tla siyama, we are peaceful. You don't even march to demand that your own municipality must get its license of water and electricity back. 65% of any functional municipality's revenue comes from a provision of water and electricity. Mafike municipality was never a municipality because the Bob government held it as a national municipality. So the Bob government actually gave it grants every month to run the operation. So when the new transition came in, that municipality didn't even have anybody who knows how to collect revenue because they never collected any revenue.
Yes.
The streets, the lights that you were seeing running, Mafiki, Mabatu, Ili Green,
was a beautiful city.
was a national government set up. 3 steps out of the villages, it was poverty. So that you can create this pocket of excellence to showcase that Bantustan system is working.
You had an airport?
For those that you could see, we had an airport. We had
My first time flying, I was going there.
to Mafikeng with Bob Air. Yeah, but so I'm saying it's a very complicated. It's a very complicated story. But the short story of it is that there has not been proper leadership. The town, by the way, Mafikeng is the only place where it has never ever been a regional office. So Mafikeng was the head office of the Botswana Land Protectorate before Botswana was established in the early 60s. Mafikeng was the head office of Botswana. Mafikeng is the head office of Northwest. So there's always been co-head office where things are signed and the like. It has been the home to the Anglo-Boer War. The war between the British and the Afrikaners actually got fought in Mahikeng. That is why it's Mahikeng. It's because the Mahika, the stones, were the ones that protected the city from the siege during the Anglo-Boer War. So Mahika is the shield that characterizes that space. So when Levi and others say Mahikeng concert, it's about the stones and the like that protected. So for me, it's about how do we revisit that? How do we take this Mahika, rebuild the city in line with Double HP songs? We build this city. That could be what needs to be done. Put politics aside, appoint competent people, get the municipality to work. The stadium that used to host the
Mabatu Stadium.
Yeah, that used to host these games.
Even Vodacom as well.
Yeah, the Vodacom games, But apart from that, do you know that those games were hosted before you are into the events, before the Sazria Act?
Yes.
If that was...
Yeah, because Sazria only started now.
But if Sazria was then, those games would have never taken place. You know why?
But it's sad though.
Because that stadium was never compliant. from the word go. How it was built,
Yeah, because of
it doesn't make sense. And I know it might be controversial to my fellow Maftown people, but you can't watch a soccer match like this.
Yeah.
It's just wrong. And you know why? It was designed by the Israelis, and for you can't fix it because the architectural design and the documents that were used, they can't be found. So no one.
So it's two stadiums like that.
Yeah, that's
And that were built by the Botswana government.
So they can, yeah.
It's Odi Stadium and Marathi Stadium.
So the reason why it can't be fixed properly is because the actual original documents, when you do the when you do the building, they can't be found. So they don't know which pillar to remove. They might remove a wrong pillar and everything
Collapses. Yeah, because it's
stacks
and stacks.
So it was built without the seats that actually sometimes drove the numbers to almost 90,000. But we know with the Sasria Act and what does that mean with no medical facilities and the like, and thank God nothing major happened. But the reality is that you can't build a 95,000-seater stadium in a place that has 6,000 population. There's no econometrics there and the like. You could have actually built a 30,000-seater stadium with all the facilities.
But what if somebody says it was an intention to draw crowds to the area? Because remember, it was the past regime.
No, it was built to celebrate the 6th of December, which was the Apartheid Bophuthatswana Bantu Independence Day. So everybody will travel from everybody, or Khanyesa, everybody. So it's a setup. It's everywhere in the continent. Even if you look into all the, there's the Thohoyandou Stadium, those were built to celebrate so-called independence, only used once in a time. If you look at the rest of the continent, how stadiums are designed, you take the Lusaka.
And the apartheid government obviously didn't care.
Yeah, you take the Lusaka Stadium. It's built for, that's why it has a track so that the leader
can walk there.
The leader can be on the top of the car and can drive. And
Meanwhile, we are cheering.
Yeah, you are cheering Batubame and the like, and not just Mabatu Stadium. If you look at how we, in the continent, this infrastructure is designed around the leader. Even at Mabatu Stadium, you saw the VIP space. That was not actually VIP. It was, I can actually tell you.
Because it's so small.
No, it was the number of the cabinet. That was designed for the cabinet. So it has nothing to do with commercial element of a stadium that me and you knows that when you design a sports facility, you must be able to build commercial opportunities for suits, to then create the sustainability of the stadium. But that's the rest of the space, how it's designed in the continent. It's designed around a leader. And as a result, when the leader dies, the vision dies. Or the leaders then start assuming that they are in control of everybody else and actually everything is designed around them. And I think that's where we went wrong.
Coming back to Gauteng, you are leading most of the campaigns in putting Gauteng on the map, but budgets have been cut.
Say that again.
Budgets have been cut. So what's causing tourism in this province to go a little bit down?
So Gauteng is quite a different space. So Gauteng is actually traditionally not a tourism destination because tourism is regarded as, so me and you when we were growing up, tourism was the short pen, the kousu, the binoculars, mumraha, koloya,
Yes.
That was what design, or we are shoved into a car, kadi holidays, but a drop go. That was travel for me and you, and then coming back to class, we are told to write an essay about our holidays trip.
Yeah.
And that time we went to Gogo. So tourism has always been about class and relation. So Gauteng doesn't have the sea, it doesn't have the mountains.
Yes.
Apart from the Nokeng, it doesn't have the big game reserves. So what is tourism in Gauteng? Tourism in Gauteng is lifestyle.
I was going to say that.
It's entertainment.
Because we all converge and come here.
Yeah.
But then what happens?
So who knows any zoo or nature reserve or game park in New York? Times Square, Madison Square Garden, Yankee Stadiums, Jay-Z.
And that's what Gauteng is
That's
about.
exactly, And therefore, what makes this city is the people. And the people is what? Is the lifestyle. The people is your Messi Pakelas, is your Arthur Mafukates, and that followed the Miriam Makebas, that followed the Makunkun Dlovus, and the like. It's your Kalamazumo Koni, who was the first player to go up there.
Overseas,
It's your Jomosono, who lives a wedding.
To go score a goal, a winning goal.
Score 3 goals when Pirates is 2-0 down, and there's not even a single Netflix series that showcases that, and we're bombarded with a Neymar story. That's what Gauteng is about. So being responsible for marketing and telling the destination story is a privilege, and is a work that I don't take for granted. But what makes it almost seamless and easy, without it's to aggregate the story is not
To
easy.
market this province,
not easy at
not
all,
easy.
because we are told we are marketing non-traditional tourism stuff, and you say yes, that's what we
specialize in.
That's what we specialize in. Do you go to New York to go and sit inside a tourism van and drive in a?
Come to think of it,
to say, but no,
we're
you
going
don't
for
do-
the lifestyle.
You go for the lifestyle.
New York
you go
is
for
about
the
lifestyle.
experience. You go to meet people.
Las Vegas.
You know, back in the days when I joined Gauteng Tourism, we did a survey to find out why people come to Gauteng. And on the facility, I never forget this thing. The results came in, and the people from Lesotho were saying they are coming because they stand a better chance of seeing a person live that they always see on TV. That time, Arthur is my neighbor.
Yes.
I see him every day, and
but
I
for
stay
somebody,
here
it's something
for somebody else. And I was like, so that started realizing that I must then design marketing campaigns and programs that are human-centric. It's not about me, and it's not about my own surrounding. The insights tells you it's about what. Therefore, every child that is born in Matatiele, like I've said, everywhere, can't wait to come to Gauteng. So how do I make it even more enticing? But they must then come legally. They must be able to come and explore. 8 of the 13 universities in these countries are here. You know what that means? Gauteng is youthful.
Yeah.
Because it's a knowledge hub. You come in here, you are 18 years, you starting university. After that, MTN, whoever hires you. After that, you marry because they are beautiful people here. You spend up what? So you start building. So we must capture you while we are still young. And for me, I want to hold it back to you. Why we don't even have targeted youth students events? You can imagine, Arthur, a youth festival, a youth choir piano festival that brings all the students from all over the world.
And I guess that's what Scorpion's Life did.
Absolutely. So
They
you
saw
see,
a gap.
yeah, but it's not.
But they didn't call it youth.
Yes.
That's where the difference
No,
is.
no, not only youth. So you can imagine. So how many students in the continent have student cards? Student card. Do you know that you can get cheaper flights, cheaper hotel accommodation because you are a student, you use your student card? Do you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Now you know.
Because
So
my daughter was telling me the
Yeah.
other day, I think
So
she
you-
was
if you
trying to
book-
buy
Yeah.
a laptop, and she said,
yeah, you use your
I've got
student card,
certain
you get
privileges.
the privileges. You for flights, you use your student card. So how many of the students all over the continent, all over the world, because that student number has a barcode that is exclusively to you, by the way. So that's data that you collect. They come in here for a pilgrimage every month. What does that mean? You transition from what happens there in Durban for the pens down event into a university pilgrimage and an event. What this does is that it creates an opportunity to then capture them. They stay here. They were students, now they stay here. You have an educated population. They bring their families and the like. And that's why Gauteng is such a multicultural melting pot. And any other city in the world that is growing, that is open, is because of the diversity that is there. Do you know in Dubai, there are more foreigners than indigenous local people? The only city in the world that has more people that went there than the people that were born there.
Amazing.
And everybody tells you that Dubai is booming. It's because you bring in the power of the expert, but what they do, they enforce the law, they make sure that everybody comes in legally, ne? They enforce the law, they put up the system, and the system works. New York is built by expatriates.
You are one of the chief experts, or a person that holds a high position in GTA, which is the Gauteng Tourism Authority.
Yeah.
How would you define your role as GTA?
So I don't hold a high position, by the way. I hold a high responsibility.
Hey, I like that.
Like I said, which is massive, which is selling this destination, which is selling a province that has 16 million people. Of the 16 million people in South Africa, Gauteng has 16 million. Of the 16 million people that we have, more than half of them are staying in townships. So when we talk about township tourism, it's Gauteng. It's not a popular thing. It's not a rhetorical or a populist thing to say. It's what it is. Of the 13 biggest townships, 15 biggest townships in South Africa, 13 of them are in Gauteng. So that's what we do. So my biggest job is to inspire, is to instill hope in those that are in Katlehong, those that are in Shoshanguve, that they can create their own Vilakazi Street but they must not copy Vilakazi Street. They must have their own actual experience. We must have the United Nations World Tourism Organization creating township tourism focus at the global level, because the favelas in Brazil are similar to what we have in our townships. So townships are not exclusively a South African thing, but South Africa can lead. What does that mean? New markets for me and you that are in Kasi, that are running our BNBs, that are running our Chesanyamas, and we are diversifying the tourism experience out of traditional BNBs, hotels. Who runs them? White people, male Afrikaner, and the like. So my job and colleagues at Gauteng Tourism Authority is to engender unapologetically that transformation, is to make sure that the tourism sector is diversified. But I think we are actually wrongly named. We are a destination marketing organization for Gauteng, not a tourism marketing, not a tourism marketing for Gauteng. We are using our marketing of sports, of lifestyle, of entertainment to then drive visitation. But we are also, remember, the net exporter of domestic travel. That's my biggest headache. Because Arthur and the like, tomorrow, where are you going, Bombela? Soccer final.
Yes.
Who will be filling up there? Gauteng people. You know why? We have the highest per capita income, but we are able to go out. We have the corporates and the like. All the corporate tickets are gone. They've taken by corporates. They all go there. Mpumalanga gets their annual target for out of that match. When there is a church in Moria in April, Limpopo gets their annual target out of 2 days.
Durban festive.
When there's Durban July, so Gauteng people go out. So what do? I don't stop them going. Therefore, I make sure that when you go there to soccer tomorrow,
we still find you there.
No, you exude GP lifestyle. Okay. So when you go there, you are not apologetic about where you're coming from. They can see if you are a lady by the shoes and the hair. When you are a guy, they can see by how you walk and how calm and embracing you are. So we don't fight it. We go in and exude the GP lifestyle, Ekoloni, in Mbombela, in Durban, so that we continue to inspire them to visit Gauteng, rather than blocking people, because you will then not have domestic tourism in the country, because Baba has stopped everybody from going out. And that's not the job. But most importantly, we are teaching the Gauteng people, the locals, not to be boring hosts. You know, we have what we call visiting friends and relative segments in the tourism. So it's your cousins that are coming from all over the country, and they are visiting you, and they decided to stay with you in your house. So they are not booking a B&B or a hotel, you know. So Gauteng receives the highest number of that segment of visitors, more than any other province, and it's not just from Gauteng. It's those that have left by Australia, UK. So when they come and visit their relatives, they don't stay in hotels. So we count them as VFR visitors. So our message and target is to you,
What's
Arthur.
VFR?
Visiting friends and relatives.
Okay.
Ne? So our message to you, Arthur, and everybody and that are in Gauteng, to know your backyard, to become a tourist in your own backyard, so that when the visiting friends and relatives comes, you don't become a boring host. You are able to take them out. So you can imagine how many people in Soweto have been to 1947 for dinner. Very few. But we are encouraging locals to go out so that when the visitors comes and they ask you, where can you go? You don't take them to an expensive restaurant for a steak in Santin.
When there's villagers.
When you take them to a Mohodu experience, Banwem Komboti and the like. So our call is to the locals to be tourists in their own back. But you know what is fundamental for me about that? Ultimately, you know, especially women, they organize trips, and there's somebody there in the group who is organizer, who does the itinerary, and they're like, oh, even us guys, Rakolega, if we give you Atha will do everything else. By knowing your own backyard, by doing all these itineraries, it creates entrepreneurial opportunities. All of a sudden, you are able to run a tour operating business. You are able to become a travel agent. You are able to actually make money out of showing your friends where to go. Not necessarily being an influencer, but being an actual business that does that. I was giving an example working with stadium management, just to give you a take of how sports drives tourism. You can imagine when Simpiwe Shabalala scored that goal in 2010 in the FIFA World Cup at Soccer City. It was 11th of June.
Yes.
On the 11th of June 2025, at exactly 17 hours, Simpiwe Shabalala takes 20 or 200 exclusive fans from all over the world on a journey, walking on the FNB stadium and say, I was there, I scored this goal there on this day 15 years ago. How much do you think that ticket will cost? It will be priceless. You know why? It's because the actual curator of that story, who is a tourist guide on that day, is Simpiwe Shabalala.
The man who did it.
The man who did. The man who did.
Normally it would be somebody explaining
yes,
that
the man
story.
who did that story. So it becomes an exclusive experience. It's like being Luciano Pavarotti taking you out on a dinner to explain the new album that is coming. That's tourism in Gauteng. It's not the mountains. It's exactly buying a $2,000 ticket to go on a 2-hour tour of FNB Stadium with Simpiwe Shabalala on the 11th of June every year.
If I'm sitting at home as a citizen and I'm thinking, hey, this man is making interesting points, giving us interesting points, but how does he do it? How do they do it? What do you guys do to make sure that we stay on par with other competitors?
So we like I've said, 16 million people lives here. So there's no way Baba will know everything. And Baba,
Yeah, but I'm saying the type of campaigns.
Yeah, Baba and the team does know. Our campaign, like I said, I had to learn and base my work and evangelism work on user-generated stuff, on user insights. Because like I said, it's not about me. I'm servicing the client. So like I've said, Gauteng is about the people. So the people tell us what is buzzing about Gauteng. So we...
But you just lost the MTN Cup. It's going to Mbombela.
No, we don't operate in that space. That's third division stuff. MTN 8,
yes.
Final, NetBank final. No, we are already now at the last stage. By the way, everyone who says the other thing is the opposite information. The only official bid that has been approved by Cabinet for F1 in South Africa is the Kyalami Johannesburg Gauteng bid.
But Cape Town is saying no.
That's why
Western Cape is saying no.
No, but
they're saying they're
but
getting
there's only one cabinet in the country, and there's only one country. There's no country called Western Cape and Cape Town, and the bid is done by AWA, the body, and it must have a government backing. The government of South Africa is one, and it has pronounced on its statement. So everybody, there was an open call, and everybody submitted the bid, including the guys in the Eastern Cape, by the way. They submitted their bid, including the guys in Cape Town. 2 of them, by the way. There's one that are building a track inside the city. They were the ones that were building at the new airport that they are building. you know. So they all submitted their bid. They were
But
evaluated.
Gauteng won the bid.
We didn't won. We won that first part,
Yes.
which is now going to F1
Yes.
for the rest for on behalf of the country. So it's the same as G20. You remember when there were rumblings when the
Yes.
president
And it's coming to Gauteng.
was calling us about how the city is not prepared. Did you hear what our colleagues in Cape Town said? They said, "Bring it here. We will host it." And I had to come publicly and indicate to them that there's only one country. The thing that they could do is to actually say, how do we contribute our expertise if they are indeed expect to come and help Johannesburg, Gauteng to host on behalf of the country. So Arthur, don't take any other information. There's only one bid. CAF Champions League finals. Why are we not going back to a neutral venue for the finals? Just like the UEFA finals.
Yes.
Before the competition starts, you announce where the venue is. Do you know what it does for tourism? You are able to build up. You are able to do, tourism works with forward bookings. So if we know by the 31st of May, I already know the date for the UEFA Champions League final date without even knowing
But you don't know
what
about
are
the
team.
African one.
And I know where it's going to be played. If I know. So that's where Johannesburg Gauteng plays. We bid for hosting Champions League finals, not Nedbank. That's how we support other provinces. We are a national province. 9 provinces, national province. So we deal with national and continental events. There's no way. There must be a final in Rustenburg. You know, there must be a final in Bombela. There must be a final in Durban. There must be a final in Cape Town. But when the continent meets and play a final, they must come to the head office, which is here in Gauteng. So that's where Gauteng plays. We don't bid against other provinces. It's an unfair bidding. But we also don't spend money unnecessarily. Do you know there's 300,000 children that comes to Gauteng every year looking for school, coming from all over the continent and the provinces? That is why you will never ever have enough money to build schools. So imagine if now we are now taking the little sensory bid about the MTN 8 final, and then Kaizer Chiefs about 10 million, Pirates about 10 million. No, that's not how it works. We should be having the Champions League final that makes money for the province and the country, and not getting the money out, getting the BNBs booked. Pirates plays in the Championship, Sundowns plays in the Champions League. That's where Gauteng plays.
And this year we've got 3 big teams.
Exactly, Chiefs now.
So you need to capitalize on
and
this.
I had to speak to my dear friend Jazz and say, Jazz, we just a team. Gauteng ha go luziwe. We are the home of champions,
Yeah.
and Kaizer Chiefs is just a team.
Yes, because they're always outside.
Yeah, so I had to say, so you can't be.
Because I've always asked myself, why is Kaizer Chiefs always taking their games away? Because it's not building the culture of Gauteng.
Not only
it's
that,
like it's relying on.
Me and you understand football. It's not
Yes.
even about that anymore. It doesn't make football sense. Which team ever in the world takes away its home
I've been saying
advantage
that.
and go out?
I've been saying
No,
that.
you are gonna stay in a hotel. You are gonna be traveling 4 hours because somebody gives you a money to host. That doesn't make football sense.
No,
And there's
it
no
has never-
self-respecting coach that will allow for the team to do that.
But
So
maybe it's a good business model for Kaizer Chiefs.
not only Kaizer Chiefs. That is why you will never, ever, ever in the world, even you were to reincarnate and come back 3 million years from now, Everton play its home match
Away.
in Sunderland. That will never happen. It's because they appreciate a home match. And that's what it is, because really our teams don't own stadiums, and that's where when the tourism and sports tourism in particular comes in. When we have the private sector, we have the communities coming in, when we build localized stadiums, Bakulun Stadium, George Thabe Stadium, Lucas Moripe Stadium, Orlando stadiums, then they have these teams that are localized in those things. The community contributes, they build that team, they sell seasonal tickets, we bring the tour operators, they package, the fans, soccer clubs, supporters clubs of these teams organize themselves. They form themselves into consortiums of businesses. You can imagine Sundowns supporters club in Mamelodi.
I mean, I agree with you. I fully agree with you. And it also builds a culture. Because if I'm in Tanzania now,
Yeah.
I love Sundowns, and I want to go watch them. I should just know that I'm going to either.
No,
Loftus-
I contact the supporters club in Mamelodi. Ne? They arrange for me. They are a business, so they run a business. There's a tour operator in that supporters club. They receive the fans. Nomakanja and Sundowns will be in the Champions League. Therefore, the Sundowns home matches means traveling fans. That's tourism. They arrive on a Wednesday or a Thursday with the team. They go to Mamelodi Tour. They go to Solomon Mahlangu Memorial. What that does build? It builds currency, but it also creates good sportsmanship amongst the fans. It eliminates the fight. And that's what tourism does. Tourism becomes that ignition that pulls everything. So you can imagine supporters club of Sundowns, Chiefs, and everything else. We're not going to have issues of stadiums that are not filled because tickets will be pre-sold. They will be sold as packages. But you are not buying 90 minutes yet raw. You are buying a fan experience that happened a day before. Do you know right now you can do actually an F&B stadium tour? You actually get off a hop-on-hop-off bus at Gold Reef City. You get into a Soweto tour. You get to Soccer City. They take you through the change rooms. You take pictures and the like. There's somebody who tells you the history of the stadium.
But do you ever have sessions with all these economic driver heads and say, guys, do you understand the value that you guys have?
But you see how tough my job is.
Yes, because it's the most difficult thing. I mean, I've been saying it. How do you
and the guys
convince
exports
Kaizer Chiefs to own its home and say, this is where we belong? Yes, it's okay. They're playing all over the country, but...
You know what we are putting now? For
the culture.
The Naturana village, we're putting a tourism brown board. You know, the board that says, there are tourism boards that are brown, that shows you a hotel or everything. We're actually working on putting a brown board that shows you the Nigerian Chiefs village. Because you know what? It's a tourism hub.
Yes.
The number of people that goes there to buy merchandise.
To even say the most confusing situation is that of Sundowns. They are practicing here in Midrand, Chlorkop, around Midrand.
Yeah.
They have a home in Mamelodi, which is HMPJ, where the stadium is not operating.
You know the story there of the construction mafia and blocking the stuff there. Yeah.
And then there's Loftus, and there's
Lucas Moripe.
Sometimes it gets confusing, and we wonder why sometimes we can't keep fans.
But it goes to my point. So if Lucas Moripe Stadium becomes co-owned by Sundowns and the city, they take risks, they invest in the stadium.
But you can't sell a government property.
No, you're not selling.
Yeah.
You're not selling. You are
but
sweating.
How do they co-own?
You are sweating. You are leveraging.
Yeah.
You are sweating. You are leveraging. You are not selling. You are sweating. You are leveraging. The same way Orlando Pirates uses Orlando Stadium.
Because with Pirates, it's a culture.
Yes.
You know, Escotine, we know.
Absolutely.
It's a home game.
Absolutely. But the city rebuilt it. Remember, the city rebuilt it for the World Cup.
Yes.
There's nothing stopping Sundowns from doing that from Lucas Moripe Stadium. There's nothing stopping. That's why Kaizer Chiefs had their own project back in the days. Actually, when I came to Gauteng, the Chiefs wanted to build a stadium in Kagiso.
It's there now. Nothing is happening.
Nothing
I
happening.
thought they were going to...
The problem
was
is...
it parking or what?
No, the land issues and everything, and the World Cup came, and the resources were diverted, and other issues. I know the city is trying to revive that project. It's the Asintolenge stadium, by the way. But for me, Arthur...
No, is the Asintolenge not in Randfontein?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same space. So they're combined in the project. Okay. So for me, I just wanted to demonstrate how my job is difficult. So if I'm having this conversation with teams, the guys at the Department of Sports says, Barba is taking our job. If I'm conversing and saying to the Department of Agriculture, there's farmers in Randfontein all over here, they are producing stuff. And Gauteng brand, it starts here. I'm going to buy the wrap for you. I'm going to wrap this spinach with the Gauteng, it starts here brand and say freshness starts here. And that's how I'm going to wrap, I'm going to negotiate a distribution deal for you at Spa or at ShopRite. Therefore, I'm paying for your wrapping and distribution cost, and I'm wrapping, because remember, that's not a government brand. It's a destination brand. I'm wrapping, I'm putting it up there. The guys at the agriculture department says, you are taking my job. And I say, that's not your job. Your job is to make sure that they are farmers, they are supported. My job is to assist in having their content, their produce, tell the story. In that brand is written, made in Kagiso, or grew in Kagiso, Gauteng starts here, I'm taking away the cost of packaging.
Yes.
I'm giving you money back in the pocket.
But would somebody ever say no to that?
No, I'm just giving you
Okay.
a sense
Oh,
that
yes.
that
Okay.
that my job. So going back to your earlier question about budgets, even if budgets are cut, the little that is in agriculture, the little that is in sports, the little that is in infrastructure for maintenance, the little that is in a municipality for stadium, I have a say in it. And it's how we collectively pull through. That is why major cities are selling. You know, Arthur, at Times Square in New York, back again, everybody goes there. What do they get out of there? A picture with an NYPD policeman. Even yourself.
Yeah,
here.
just to show
Yeah.
that I was there.
Yeah.
Like if you go to
Yeah.
London and you
Yeah.
see a guy of
They-
London.
yeah, yeah. So American police are the most they are serious, unfriendly, and everything else, except the ones that are in Times Square. You know, you can buy a T-shirt of NYPD at Times Square. 15% of that price goes to crime prevention. Another 15% goes to the tourism body for marketing the destination. So that T-shirt becomes how you tell the story. And that's how we are packaging Gauteng. But here, Arthur and Associates, they're going to take this JMPD T-shirt, but stop at the Golego Strating, but get them upon us. That's the challenge that we are facing around what you do in content. So when you are responsible for the destination brand, you are actually responsible for something that is not in your control. I tell people that it's safe, there are so many things to do, and then somebody just go decide to do their things, shoot at people or drive and run down people. So that's the most difficult part to manage the destination, is to be able to convince everybody to do good and be good for the benefit of the destination, and hope and pray that they do so.
So for tourism to really thrive, the policing departments and stuff must be always on par. Because if you are busy marketing the province, but crime keeps on increasing.
Absolutely. That is why we welcome initiatives like the crime prevention wardens. Colloquially, they are called Amapanyaza. And they are very young. A lot of them are women, very energetic. I know they have a partnership with some of the gyms around, and they are placed in every ward, you know. So we have a program where we are actually encouraging and teaching them about tourism, so that when a tourist or anybody asks them, where is Constitution Hill? They know, they are able to tell you. They must be the same like those policemen at Times Square. They must not be the police that stops you when you ask them where is Connie Hill, they ask for cold drink. But that must be orientated and teaching. So tourism has everything to do with the police, but not just the police. It has everything to do with the community. There's one thing I can tell you and our viewers back home. This community of Soweto and Vilakazi Street in particular, just as an example, they will never allow anybody to snitch a wallet from a lady or a tourist in the street.
Yeah.
You know why? It's because they
understand the value.
No, they have seen the benefits of that street buzzing and the visitor economy. They have went to school out of the result of the proceeds of a growing tourism in that space. Their sons and daughters are doctors out of the proceeds. So they become the first line of defense. They are going to apprehend you and hand over to the police. So you can imagine if we adopt, therefore my job and my colleagues at the GTA, and not just the GTA, the guys at the police, the guys at health, the guys at home affairs, is to ensure that we evangelize this, we build this culture, so that the people can actually, firstly, locals, Gauteng, 60 million, we can see the benefits of a growing tourism. Right now, Gauteng is the most visited province. We breaks the record. The Western Cape, which is said to be the tourist hub of the country, its annual tourism revenue is 21 billion rand. Gauteng sits at 42 billion rand. That's cheese and chalk, you know. But we want these numbers that I'm rattling, the 21 billion that comes from domestic tourism, the over 30,000 jobs that gets created, to be felt by the local person on the street. The supporters clubs of these teams to say we are running companies that are operating tours and the like. So for me, that's when I would say we have done our work. But everything that we do, Arthur, it's tourism. When Pori and Kabza pulled up the biggest show at Loftus, do you know that out of that show, Gauteng on a single day, for the first time in his 15 years history, managed to transport close to 18,000 people in a single day.
Wow.
18,000 people just on a Saturday as a result of that show. Chris Brown concert generated 900 million rand, almost R1 billion into the economy of Gauteng. There was a stampede at the Botswana border with people wanting to come into South Africa. Do you know every one international tourist who comes into the country stays for more than 3 days? We create between 5 and 7 jobs. From the guys that do these things at the aeroplane, to the guys that takes the bag, to the guys that makes the eggs at the breakfast at the hotels, to the tourist guide. So if we host a Formula One, even if we were to take the money that we are going to use to build an agricultural farm in 2027, invest it in now, there are guaranteed numbers of 70,000 visitors into F1 Johannesburg for more than 3 days, because you know there's a practicing round and the like. There is guaranteed 30,000 jobs. There's guaranteed retooling. Do you know the tires? You know that how many times do you change the tires in an F1 race? There's a company in Garankuwa that extract oil from used tires. At the most, if they have done business, they will have got in a year 400 tires. Just out of F1 event 1, 2,000 tires are used. You can imagine if we give that company in Garankuwa half of those tires. A game changer for that company. So for me, that's what it means hosting this event. It's not the sentimental things to say it's an elitist sport and that is being done there. It's the econometrics of this. Do you know how many of these OMEs that are here that are building manufacturing cars will be coming into and wanting to be there to supply the parts? Lewis Hamilton himself, he says he runs a program called STEM, which is educating math and science for young females, you know, in motorsport. He says, I'm going to bring this program to South Africa if South Africa hosts the F1. So that's where I am, and that's where I'm taking the destination marketing efforts for Gauteng collectively with our partners. We want to big conferences, like I've said, CAF Championship events. Gauteng, like many other cities, where is the Wimbledon tennis held? In London. What do they have? They have an F1, they have an in Wimbledon, they have an F1 in Silverton. They have
football.
No, I'm just giving you the major events.
Yes.
So there's F1 in Silverton, there's a Wimbledon tournament, you know, there's a golf tournament. These are called majors. So any city that is competitive in the world, there are must-have events that you need to have. You need to have a tennis championship. You need to have an F1. You need to have a golf event.
We acquired a golf event.
So we have a Johannesburg Open.
Yeah, but we just acquired.
Yes, there's the Leaf golf event
Yes.
that is one of the biggest in the world. So those are standard practice. The F1 in Monaco, when it finishes on Sunday, on Monday the French Open starts.
So they keep you there.
They keep you there, and that's how it's done. So that's sports tourism at its best. So when you have the CAF Champions League final here, when you have a Soweto Derby, the Soweto Derby should be preceded by other stuff. We should formalize Mogodu Mondays. We should formalize.
Because it happens.
No,
so it must be formalized.
We
as
must
an event.
formalize Mogodu Mondays. One thing I like about Konka, and that's why it must reopen again.
And you had a campaign, Konka GP, right?
Yeah, Konka GP, the home of Amapiano. But I'm saying Konka, the establishment,
Yes.
that is the only place, you know, in the African continent where you were able to pay Ace of Spades champagne with Mogodu. 50 rand and 30,000. and there was no issue. And that's GP lifestyle for you. And when you say GP lifestyle, that's exactly what we mean. So You can imagine how many people that are providing stage will benefit out of them. How many people that are providing toilets will benefit. There will be innovation. Ladies are struggling in events with ablution facilities. There should be innovation of detergents that assist the ladies to go into toilets that are clean and the like. So if you host consistently this event, there's somebody who's a freelancer who can get a pay slip and apply for a car because they are not having a consistent income and they're not classified as working. Now you have this calendar of events that are consistent every year. This is a formal worker. You know what makes bushfire tick in Swaziland?
Yeah.
When the last act is on stage on a Sunday, when that last act performs, they write there.
The next one.
See you on this date next
And
year.
you know how many South Africans go
And
to
in
the
the
bushfire?
morning, when you leave your hotel coming back to South Africa, you book because you know the date. And that's what we need to do. For everyone, for producers, and everybody does event, that's where the level we need to go to. A simple thing, and I know we're talking about Pori and that event and the Loftus Stadium and the rugby. That's another challenge. But if you own the stadium, you are in control of the space, you are able to book and consistently. Like I've said, tourism works with forward bookings. And with these forward bookings, it means money now in your pockets. You are able to mola le mola. You are not waiting for that person to come and book when they arrive. That's pre-booking. They pay. That makes a hell of a difference for your cash flow as an entrepreneur.
Wow. Out of all these 9 provinces, which one is doing the most? Is it KZN? Because of the beaches?
KZN is actually, unfortunately, a sad story. And that's what happens when things are not working. Remember, there was the water things and the classification of their beaches, which was not making. There was the floods. And, that happened. There was the floods. It affected, it terminated the beachfront, for example. So Devon is trying to recover, and that's why Gauteng and KZN have a partnership agreement, because we're not competing, we're collaborative. So we are assisting each other. That's why I was saying we let the final go there, so that we can go we can go and support if there are conferences and events that needs, like the FIFA beach ball thing there. Why must Gauteng host that thing when we don't have the beach? We will rally behind Durban and the like. So Durban is recovering from that thing. It's like Bali when it was hit by the tsunami. The riots that happened at the time in Durban and the floods had an effect on the tourism in Durban. The MedLife investment that is happening is going to change the face of KZN tourism, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy for them.
What's happening?
There's a MedLife establishment. It's almost like a resort, Sun City times 2. That is in build. It's almost completion. It's opening.
Where is it?
Opening next year, just by the Umhlanga area.
Okay.
Huge development. It's an international franchise called MedLife.
Yeah, I know about it.
Yeah,
because that's where they even played the Club World Cup final.
Absolutely.
They're now going to play the World Cup final at the MetLife Stadium.
So the MetLab is opening up there. It has going to have a positive effect on the tourism economy of KZN and Durban in particular. You have seen the Mhlanga area is coming up okay, the growth that is in there. Western Cape continues to attract European visitors. What we have seen in Gauteng, which is a game changer, there's a new phenomenon. It's called real estate tourism. You know what is real estate tourism? African Americans that are also worried about Trump administration, tariffs, money, finance management, and issues. They have their savings. They are worried about what's going to happen to their savings. They are withdrawing their savings. They are coming to South Africa, Gauteng in particular, because we even forget that African Americans in America, they are in minority. So when they get into Cape Town, it reminds them of America. They want to see people that they can relate to. So they are buying property in golf estates. They are fascinated by our golf estates. They are fascinated by something called scalarity. There's nothing called scalarity in your house in America. Already,
Oh.
there can be a kitchen
Yeah.
and a scullery.
Yeah.
Huh? Where you just pack
Yeah.
things. They are fascinated by simple
kind of things.
Those kind of things. So now they are moving into the space. It's called real estate tourism, but they are recruiting their families. They are bringing the dollars into the economy, but they must go through the proper process of work permits and everything else. So in Gauteng, because of our cosmopolitan nature, but also the airports and access to the rest of the continent, that is going. So tourism is generally growing in South Africa. It's not at the level where we should be. I of a view that as South African tourism brand SA, we are undervaluing the creative economy. I said it 15 years ago, invest in Break Coffee, give him 1 million rand a year. They said I was mad up until when we couldn't afford him. And then I said again, invest in Shimza. This boy is gonna be the next phenomenon.
Yes.
They thought I was mad. And I said, when you see him big, you will not be able to afford him. So invest in the arts. South Africa's exceptionalism is in our creative economy, it's in our sports economy. From just how the Proteas are performing, now we know even the rugby women team, we even know the women Proteas. Banyana have
Yeah,
been,
suddenly we're
Yes.
interested in
No,
all these
yeah,
teams. I mean,
Banyana- yeah.
the Cricket World Cup,
Yes.
last time semi-final,
Yeah,
and
you see.
rugby now.
Exactly. So South Africa is going to be hosting.
We're even champions in
No,
the
we're going to be
world
hosting
dance.
Cricket World Cup 2027.
What?
Confirmed. South Africa is hosting Cricket World Cup 2027, and you know what that means? Big market from India. You know India, one of the, after China, second populous country in the world, and India are into luxury travels. Betway, SA Betway 20, the cricket tournament that is modeled around the cricket in India. That is why you have a Shanghai Super Kings, which is similar to the Joburg Super Kings,
Yes.
because Shanghai and Johannesburg are financial capital. And then you have the Mumbai Titans, and then you have the Pretoria Titans. You know why? Because those are two capital cities. So Mumbai and Pretoria are capital cities, so the teams are structured around the capital city. That cricket tournament hosted at the Wanderers and at SuperSport in Pretoria and in Gqeberha and in Durban and in Cape Town. Gauteng once again was the only province that had two stadiums, generated 30 billion into the economy of the country, just cricket. Therefore, as tourism, as brand SA, we are undervaluing and less investing in sports tourism. We are undervaluing the arts because that's the window that we have. You can imagine a brand collaboration partnership of Marketing South Africa, not Kaskaf
Yeah.
sa brand SA,
Yeah.
where you were a board member.
Yeah.
Why are we not designing a new marketing
But
collateral?
I've been saying that about clothes, which brings me to
Why are we not design? Why Raparas Kafusele for 50 years?
yes, and it's been the same, which
Yeah.
is cool. I mean, it's something that shows
No,
you're
but
from
we,
South
but
Africa.
but resapara lega win ka sama.
Yeah.
Because we don't have the winter version of the scarf. That's madness. And myself as a marketer for South Africa, that's madness. And I'm challenging my fellow marketers, let's fix this thing. There's
Because
enough
you come
creatives in
from
the country to
outside
create.
the country, you get here, you can't even buy a T-shirt that's got a flag or anything.
Yeah, you can't buy it. Yeah.
I mean, hence.
But it's not your job of Gauteng tourism. It's the job of entrepreneurs. We don't sell these things. Entrepreneurs do. When you get to Washington, by the way, go Washington, you can't even get into the White House. We shavaga feste, katrat.
But you are proud.
Ne? We shavaga katrat. Union Building. You get over the Mandela statue, you even get up to the president's office. That's how open we are. But there's nothing. There's a coffee mug of Washington, but there's no coffee mug of the Union Building. Do you blame Gauteng tourism or Tshwane tourism? I blame our entrepreneurs because we all want to organize events. We all want sponsorship. We all want, and I ask, whose event is it? It's my event. But you conceptualize, put up an event that wants 100% funding from somebody else. That doesn't work.
You must build your brand first.
Yeah, here are the things that we can do that tells the destination story.
So you just have to go check where the tourists are going and then place your product.
Not even where the tourists are going only. There are hidden gems. There's a place in Mansonville in Kagiso, next to Kagiso.
Manzaville, here.
It's called the Exit House. It's actually a 2-room, 3-room house. A normal 4-room house, it's called the Exit House. When you get into that house, there's actually a banker down. So that's where people who were going to exile were. They were hiding there.
Oh, they hide there
Yeah,
before
so
they leave.
yeah, so they will hide. When the police comes in, everybody is set up. Not knowing there's a bank. That place still exists right now. It's called the Exit. It's in Mansonville. So you can imagine, and that's what we are trying to do.
Let me put you on the spot and ask you a question. The Department of Sport, Arts and Culture proposed to build
the flag.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was 25 million.
Yeah.
And I know.
What, rents?
Yeah.
Okay. Was it 25 million rents?
Yes.
And
but
how much is that in dollars?
Yeah, but then you guys, as a country.
Who's you guys?
As a country,
Okay.
the majority said no to it. And I still feel that thing could have been a tourist attraction.
Yeah, let's take the price outside. Ne? How much is 25 million rands of national pride? 25 million rand, by the way. Ne?
But I feel like
no,
it
I'm
was
just
little. But I feel like it was little.
I'm just giving you. Yeah,
the country was supposed to allow it to go.
So, you know where that was built? Where it was going to be built? Freedom Park.
Yes.
Do you know what is Freedom Park? Freedom Park is the country's national museum. South Africa's national museum is Freedom Park.
Yes.
What else do we have which is not government but is South African? The flag. That's why we pay allegiance to the flag.
But you guys said no.
That is the South Africans.
You said no.
Ne? No, but that's what I'm saying, and you know my views about that. A flag is the only thing that represents us. If you put up a flag in a national museum, that's done. So it's typical South African colloquium experience, but it's also lack of communication.
That was painful for me. I was not involved. I wasn't anything.
Yeah, but it's still very painful.
If you travel a lot,
Yeah.
you go to other countries, you start to acknowledge and appreciate their flags.
Absolutely. That is
When
why
you see them, you can even tell kids,
No,
that's,
but
that's the flag of Brazil.
yeah, but that's why the
But
flags-
why did we refuse to just spend?
No, but that's the thing that unfortunately we live in the world of multimedia and social media and passive aggressive influence that is out there. I still think we need to put a huge
Flag somewhere.
symbolic,
Yes.
And we should be able, and not just at Freedom Park, we should be able to instill a program about appreciating and celebrating our flag, in our museums and the like. It's the same as statues,
Yes.
argument about statues
Yes, it's the
and the like. And you will have a situation where you even normalize nonsense because we fail to orientate even our own kids. I'm not sure what they are called now, beyond millennials and Gen Z. And there's a joke that, O.R. Tambo's parents were so forward looking, they even named him after an airport. And because there's just thinking that O.R. Tambo, Oliver Reginald Tambo, is named after an airport.
Yeah.
Yeah? There's no appreciation that this airport before it was Jan Smuts Airport, it was this. So it's actually the other way around. Yeah? And everywhere and in the world, the biggest airport in the United States is who? JF Kennedy.
Yes.
The biggest airport in Cuba is who? Jose Marti. And that's how it's done. And in South Africa, when that is to be explained, we make it a joke. And we allowed that to happen. And it's the same thing that happened when the flag issue
That was disappointing.
was
for me.
discussed.
Because we need to market our flag.
It's disappointing, but it also comes at the backdrop of also other things that are not working in the country that we must be open about it. The protection, the bill on performing arts and the like that it needs to be signed when all of these things are formalized. That's how I was saying, an investment in the arts. The arts shouldn't just be going to the Department of Arts and Culture for work. Tourism must be able to play a part. Everybody must be able to play a part. And that's how we will then appreciate our arts. When we say appreciate our arts, we're not just saying artists. The flag is our art.
Yes.
You know, so therefore you can't say give that money to artists, don't put up the flag. It's actually an illogical argument because the art is represented in that specific flag. So
And sometimes you feel like
but also corporate South Africa needs to come to the party. How many of the big firms and buildings that you see in Sandton that are there that are flying the South African flag up? So this is not a government thing. A flag is not a government. That's what I'm saying. Government comes and go. The flag remains. That is why we pay allegiance to the flag, not to the government of the day. The flag runs supreme. Big companies, the big discovery office, why are they not flying a big South African flag? Why are you not creating a meta flag? You remember the SAA airplanes that we used that used to transport Bafana, and the rugby team was just the flag.
So beautiful.
Beautiful. As I said in Sharpeville, so in Sharpeville where the massacre happened, very fascinating story. So there's a street there.
Have you ever seen that street during that period?
Yeah. So there's that
It's
street.
buzzing.
Yeah.
Till
So
midnight.
yeah. So on the other side, Arthur, there's a street, the only broadest street in Sharpeville. That street is huge. Ne? And I was fascinated because we had our podcast there and we're covering there. And I asked, why is this street so different? But I said, no, actually in this street, here there were the black people, and on the other side there were the white people and colored people. So street dividing them. And at the end of the street is the Sharpeville police station where the massacre actually happened. And I said to the guys at Sharpeville, the guys that Sharpeville is not a massacre, shout out to you guys, you are doing a great job. I said to them, one of them has their family home there.
Who's this guy?
Chaba. Yes, I said to Chaba.
Chaba did our Kwaito logo. He did
fascinating, creative, out of this world.
In fact, the roadshow marketing logo was done by Chaba.
Chaba is out of this world. So I said to them, guys, imagine all these houses that are this side in this street. We ask whoever build it, come on, build it, or whoever that does the paint. Give us the paint, we get a local artist. We paint the roofs of all these houses in the color of the South African flag.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen to that street with this history that I've just told you?
Because it becomes a tourist destination.
You make a drone shot. The flying there. It completely changed. So you don't have to copy Vilakazi Street.
Create your own.
You create your own. The story is there already. It's in that street. You just paint those houses with the colors of the South African flag. I can tell you that project doesn't cost 10,000 rand. And actually, the partners that are watching, they can contribute the paint. And then we all go do it. That's the power of the flag. And that's for me, I feel your pain when we're talking about the flag thing. Unfortunately, it was the personality at that point, and there's always something called time and space. So at the time, there was just so much that was happening, but I think it's something worth revisiting. That is why we're also taking our podcast to places like Freedom Park, where we are going to be showcasing this. That is why we took the first ever Afro-Punk, if you remember, that happened in Joburg.
Yes.
It was at Cornhill.
Yeah, okay.
It was at Cornhill. But the biggest issue was about a very fascinating story again. So Afro-Punk is against all the ism, racism, sexism, ageism, and the like. So it's a festival with a conscience. And then it gets done in South Africa. And because I was personally part of the team that went, beat, and brought it to South Africa.
Yes.
Yeah? So we set up. So South African says, where's the VIP section? And Afro-Punk guy says, what? This festival is about us.
Trying to avoid the very same thing.
Yeah, we are against
no hierarchy.
Classism, sexism, racism. They say it's not going to fly in South Africa because everybody wants VIP. Afro-Punk did first time ever in their life a VIP at Cornhill section. So I'm just giving you the dynamics. I was at Afro-Punk Brooklyn in New York. The only thing that you will get that resembles VIP is an entrance to get into the venue and different ablution toilet facilities. Even
the rest is the same.
Top artists and the like talents were the same because that's what the festival is about. So then we couldn't agree on some of the local beneficiation, the system of booking. Some of it was done in the US. When you book and the system is in the US, that doesn't help us because the money is that side and the tourism doesn't grow. So that's what happened, why we couldn't even continue.
Baba, tell me, what was your best campaign?
Oh, the best, I can't ignore, and the World Cup was just fascinating for me.
I knew you were going to say World Cup.
And you know
and
why.
I'm glad I was part of that
You know
campaign.
why? Yes, and we set up, we put up a media facility. We had even unaccredited
We were
media.
working every day,
Yeah,
guys.
even
You guys made
unaccredited
us
media.
thrive.
We got them to feel welcomed. The disky dance was for me one of the, you see South Africans going.
Yes.
Everybody,
You still even remember
the dance, and why are we not rekindling that? And when South Africans are united by a common cause, so for me that was the best. But you know why? Because I love football.
But we were working every day.
Yeah.
We were going all over. Because
So I'm
of
a
that
marketer.
That campaign.
I'm a marketer and I love football. So when those things were brought together, I was a kid in a private school candy shop. So for me that was. But I'm actually looking forward. I'm praying. I'm pleading to the powers being that we should be able to reinvest money into this F1 bid. If we want to have goals and achieve things that we are setting for 15 years, we need to narrow that 15 years to 5 years. So we need projects that help us to implement things quicker and events and big events. Right now, there's huge work around closing all these other things around G20. We're galvanizing. We're gonna present the best G20, and things are getting done. That's what happened with the World Cup. We build the country and finish.
Yes.
Things gets done. So projects of this nature helps gets the country going. Dubai built the biggest airport in the world. Dubai's airport was number 3 in the world. Dubai says we don't become number 3 on anything. That is why Dubai is the only country in the world. The hotel ratings, it's 1 to 5 star. Dubai is the only country that has a 7 star. They even jump 6.
Yeah.
They jump 6.
They try to say, guys, catch us if you can.
Yeah, they jump 6. There's no 6-star hotel anywhere in the world. Dubai has a 7 star. They built a new airport by bidding for Expo 2020. So the Expo 2020 project, when it finished, that space that was taken by the whole world was developed, became the new airport.
Trump is not coming.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah, JD is coming. He's fine.
So you find...
No, it's okay. I mean, that's why I was saying, when we started, I say my plea, is to see a perfect world order, is to see a world order where no individual holds the world at random. Ne? And that time you are not even God or even deputy God or deputy Jesus. You are just a human being with flesh and blood. And
so Trump not coming, won't it affect...
No, G20 is continuing. That's why it's 20, not GUSA. It's G20. Okay. All the other countries are here.
And they are sending somebody.
Trump is sending the deputy president, the vice president, as they call them in the US. There will be other 40 heads of state from the continent, just here in the country. There's VIP protection, there's hotel, there's transportation, and everything else. What does that do to the tourism economy? After that, there's a blueprint on how we can host our own Afro 40. Afro 40, I just conceptualize it now. I don't know what is it, but it might be 40 African heads of state coming in to meet and discuss the development challenges of the continent using sports, creative, and lifestyle. So we use that same blueprint that we got out of the G20. So it's never ever about the end. The end must be the means to achieve what you want.
What are your best tourism destinations in Gauteng? Maybe 10 or...
Gauteng as entirety,
yes.
That's how I was saying. Gauteng is not a traditional touristy destination. So if you are looking for a place, so the biggest statue of Nelson Mandela in the world is in the Union Building. The biggest aviation museum on the African continent, where you are able to take your kids to do simulation. That biggest African aviation museum where the aeroplane that flew over Ellis Park Stadium Rugby World Cup 1995 is retired. Is in Germiston, in Ekurhuleni.
This small airport there?
No, in Jamestown is called the SAA Museum. It's a museum.
Okay. It's a
That's the aeroplane that we used to fly, take the delegation of apartheid government leaders to ANC leaders in Lusaka. They had to paint it all white so that it doesn't show in the radar that is the SAA car, aeroplane SAA back then without orange color. They painted it white so that it can fly out. It's retired. Is retired there. So if you want a history of aviation and the only air crash that happened out of SAA and what happened, that story is housed there. So for me, if you want to go and pay homage to our ancestors and thank them for protecting us and me and you and the rest of us being alive during one of the worst pandemic of COVID, is to go to the cradle of humankind and Tokoza Gogo and say thank you. So it's beyond traditional Instagram pictures thing. It has to be a meaning. So if you want to come pay homage and thank your ancestors everywhere in the world to pay homage to a place where common human ancestry, unless proven otherwise, is born, is the cradle of humankind. The story of aviation is there in Jamestown. If you want the story of Nelson Mandela and his biggest statue is there in. And if you have children that are always troubling you with homework, when you take them to all these attractions, you are helping in their LO studies, you are helping them in their geography and history studies. So the story of tourism, heritage and culture is in our curriculum. Therefore, traveling and getting the kids and everybody out there is not just about traveling, it's edutainment. So therefore, that's for me. Do you know that FNB Stadium is one of the only 13 stadiums in the world to host the FIFA World Cup Stadium? The city of Johannesburg is one of the only 4 cities in the world, 4, to host both the FIFA World Cup final and the Rugby World Cup final, but also the Cricket World Cup final.
And CAF as well.
You know, so when you ask me about attraction, so I'm just giving you that what do we have that are well versed. I had a friend that visited from India.
Because we did host CAF for women.
Yeah. So the Indian American friend, he came to visit, and then we passed by the Wanderers. He said, "Baba, please, can I get inside? Can I please get?" I was fascinated. He walked into the Wanderers cricket stadium. He went right to the pitch and kissed the ground. And he says, "Baba, Baba, you don't understand. This thing, it's the god of world cricket. I'm at the Wanderers where Jack Callis he started narrating the story, and me, I pass the Wanderers and every day, every day. So if you're asking me about tourism in Gauteng, that's what tourism in Gauteng. But if you want the beauty, you want Instagram pictures, Cape Town gives you that. And Cape Town, that is why is the most beautiful city in the world, as proclaimed by a lot of publication. But
and then botanical?
If you want the
botanical garden?
The botanical garden here, beautiful, proper events, the God's Window in Mpumalanga.
But I just wanted to talk about the Gauteng.
No, this is how I was saying. Gauteng is not selfish.
Yes.
Gauteng
appreciates lifestyle.
Gauteng sets lifestyle. Gauteng supports the entire. You know, when Sun City advertises itself, it says what? 45 minutes away from Johannesburg.
Yes, they always put Joburg.
Yes, it's because then appreciation of the Joburg. And for me, it's like I'm saying, we take that with humility. It's not about being pompous. We take that with humility, but it's a huge task because if Gauteng works, if Johannesburg works, South Africa works, and the continent works.
Very interesting. Last question. What advice would you give to young people that want to go into tourism, marketing and branding?
Firstly, like I said, currently the schools and universities, when they teach tourism, they teach you how to prepare a table, how to make a bed, to become a receptionist. So tourism, like I was saying, we're actually wrongly named because actually if you come to our offices, we don't do what is being taught in schools. What we do is actually we do marketing, we do destination marketing. So there are so much opportunities beyond just the hotel and hospitality part or the game ranging space. So if you are passionate, That's one of the requirements. The barriers to entry are almost non-existent. You don't need a master's degree to get into the space. We just need passion, commitment, and desire. And unfortunately, it's very scarce in majority of our young people right now. Therefore, if we reincarnate this, you will be able to get into the tourism space, but you will also be able to get into the destination marketing space. So the person who sits at Vilakazi Street and say, "Hey, bra, ata, picture man," that person is in tourism. That person doesn't have to go study tourism. That person did photography.
Already.
That person did photography. As you get into Orlando Stadium, you know they are there. They take beautiful pictures. That's content marketing. But they should be able to translate that into digital. We should be able to partner with them to tag us so that the content can go out. So,
what's your budget, GTA?
I want to give you the exact amount. $200
That's the budget you guys have.
to market this entire province of Gauteng.
200,000.
$250. 100.
Let me get my phone. I want to see currently how much it is.
Yeah.
What?
250.
And what's the rand at the moment? I'll just say 18.
20.
Rand?
19. Yeah, 19.
No ways. The budget can't be this little.
How much is it?
No, maybe I didn't calculate.
How much is it?
4 million.
Yeah.
4.5.
Yeah.
But what do you do with such little money?
So that's the reason I gave you the dollars is because of that was my exact presentation to the Portfolio Committee of Economic Development and Legislature. I was doing the presentation
maybe you calculated wrong.
No, listen, I was doing the presentation and I changed our budget into dollars because we are supposed to use the budget to go and market the destination with that. By the way, add 15% VAT, subtract 15% VAT.
No ways.
No, subtract 15% VAT.
Yeah, but there's like nothing now.
So that's why nobody must ask us for money. So that's why we do what we do. That's why we create our own little podcast. We create the stuff. And I'm not joking, by the way. That's what it is, including minus 15% VAT. That's the state of public marketing finances that we have. That is why we need the private sector, because my job is to fill up Marriott Hotel, is to fill up Santin Sun, is to fill up SAA, is to fill up Qatar Airways. My job is to fill up those business establishments.
And to influence others.
Yeah, is
to sponsor things.
Yeah, no, my job is to make money for everybody else except ourselves. That's the most bizarre and fascinating thing about my job. So I spend 4 million rent a year to have an establishment make 60 million rand a year, and I don't get a cent. Madness. That's how wrong this model is. The beneficiaries of tourism marketing by government is the private sector. When I market that is Soweto Derby, who gets to benefit? The B&Bs, the accommodation, the eateries, and the like. I take my little money markets. I get nothing. Even the tourism levy that gets charged doesn't get directly to me. It goes to TBCSA.
So meaning a big chunk of the monies are for staff and all this, the buildings and whatever.
So that is why it's important to really look at the model. That is why we are doing the partnerships. That is why we are looking at barter deals. That is why we are now into the content space to look at the channels that can partner with us to share with.
In fact, tell us about your podcast.
You know, we are Gauteng Life, a very important platform where we speak everything lifestyle. You even think is a show like yours,
yes,
because Gauteng is about lifestyle, but we talk the serious aspect of lifestyle. So we talk the business of lifestyle, the econometrics of lifestyle, the stuff that I was telling you about. What does F1 in economics looks like? What does a Soweto Derby? That's why I'm able to tell you Chris Brown concert generated 900 million rand into the economy of Gauteng. I'm not thumb-sucking it. It comes out of the systems that we have to do. I'm able to say to you, one international tourist create between 5 and 7 jobs. So there's the economics part. So that's what the podcast it's all about. But we also deal with heritage. We unlock, but we also showcase, like I've said, Gauteng is not about the mountains and the buildings, the people. So we invite the people that makes Gauteng tick. So you get a chance to sit and interact and watch the people that makes Gauteng tick, telling you how we had the likes of our Noma Mazwai, guys from Zyle Clothing who had just gifted Anthony Hamilton when he was here, the clothing, inspirational stuff, but also the little person on the street who is selling the best quarter in Gauteng. We don't just put them on the podcast, we put them on the What's on G magazine and actually get the guys that are doing food security to come and provide them with support to actually profile that quota so that when we market that quota, it's a quota that is fortified.
Yeah.
There are no issues. And that's what I love about the job that we do. It's very developmental, but also we are unapologetic about making it township based because that's where the bulk of the people are. But in a typical GP lifestyle way, we use energy. It's about lifestyle. It's about fast paced. When the bell rings at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, it says the economy, let's run. That's what that podcast is about. You will get information about the flight, SAA flight 111 to Gaborone. We should be able to flight it there so that you don't wait to get to the airport to then see there at the top that your flight, what is going in there. And that's how we make it, like I've said, consumer and customer centric. We get to service the customer and the consumer around things that matters. You know, one of the most visited part in our channel is what? The weather. We get over 250,000 hits just in the weather. Most fascinating things.
It's
because
very
people wants to know the weather, how to dress up when I come in, even local. Do I need to put a jacket in the boot? And I go, and people go and check at the weather. So if you are looking for advertising opportunities, advertise in the weather section.
I like that. I'm going to ask you 4 simple questions, but you need to answer them quick.
Yeah.
Amapiano or jazz?
Just piano.
Aye, man. That's a good word. Soccer at FNB Stadium or rugby at Loftus?
Soccer at FNB Stadium.
Your go-to Gauteng hangout place?
Any Mogodu Monday facilities in Gauteng.
Which one?
Any Mogodu.
So you can't give us one. You love them all.
No, my job is to market all of them. Therefore, I must be non-partisan.
Dream event that you'd like to bring to Gauteng?
I would like to bring Formula One to Gauteng.
I knew you were
I
going to
would
say
also want to have a Gauteng having a tennis championship. I'm tired of everyone who sends us an event proposal and they want to make a festival or a place where there's food and music. I'm tired. Please don't send them.
Yeah.
Send me a proposal that will have our version of Wimbledon and the French Open. I'll listen to you.
And you'll push it. You'll try your best.
No. I can put my head on the block. Like I've said, I'm one who goes for the underdogs. The things that have real impact, not the popular stuff.
Wow. What did it cost you guys to bring the golf?
A lot of hard work, a lot of collaboration, a lot of elbowing other competitors, and there's no price tag you can attach to that. That's just what this space gives you. The same as F1. You know who wants to host F1? Morocco. Do you know why the women's national team's tournament is in Morocco for the next 5 years? The youth championship is in Morocco for the next 5 years. AFCON in December is in Morocco. Morocco is also the host for the 2030 World Cup. It's because they have appreciated, they have seen the value of the sports economy. Gauteng, on behalf of South Africa and the continent, we need to reclaim that. Events are not a luxury. They are not placed for the elites. If done properly, scheduled properly, they drive economic recovery, they create jobs, but most importantly, they give hope and they put the country's happiness index top to the sky. You can imagine if a country is happy, just like now with Bafana's performance, we even forget about our everyday problems. But if that happiness translates into jobs, it translates into better livelihoods, better security. In Europe and in part of the Americans. So, and I was giving this an example, Arthur, and the viewers back home and everybody watching from everywhere in the world will attest to this. So, New York. So you move from Madison Square Garden, where Black Coffee had the event, and you're gonna go to Central Park. Traffic chocker blocks. You can't walk. So you go into the underground train, 150-year-old train. You go, when you get out at Central Park, is the station, you get in the park. South Africans, we rather get stuck in traffic from city center, CBD, to Sandton. Why are you not using the Gauteng? It takes you 7 minutes.
I always ask myself that question.
No, to get from Park Station to Sandton, it's 7 minutes.
But don't you think it's also because
Culture.
no one is telling us about these things?
No, it's the culture. We know about it. Everybody, every time I say about this thing,
No,
everybody
but
say,
I think it's because, no.
No, everybody says,
I disagree.
oh, by the way.
No, I disagree because just because you
18,000 people.
accepted our invitation to come here, it doesn't mean everybody else is always willing to do what you're doing.
No, 18,000 people use the Gauteng to go to Scorpion King concert. They used it, 18,000 of them.
We're going to invite
South Africans
the
get
CEO
stuck.
of Gauteng here to come and tell us.
Tepo, and I'll actually extend it. I'll send the invitation myself.
Please.
Ne? Take
We
it
need
as
Tepo here.
Take it as done. But I'm saying to you, South Africans, people in Johannesburg are able to get stuck in traffic from the CBD, from Park Station, via Sandton for 2 hours when the train takes 7 minutes.
Yes. You know how quick the Gauteng is?
Madness for me. So that's what we need to do. We need to change that culture. And you know, one of the culture that has changed also, day events. I love them. No risks, no
Yeah,
security,
yes.
overrun cost.
Safe as well.
Yeah, safe. 11 o'clock, everybody. You see the color and everything. 8 o'clock, I'm home, sipping my tea.
You can watch your football.
Ready,
nicely.
watch my football. Ready for
The
bed.
children can watch
That's
their
the
movies.
we need to go. You avoid accidents. Couple 4 o'clock, artists, driving from one event to another, and the public. So that's what lively cities do. They change to accommodate the current conditions that consumers are looking for. They are looking for wellness event. I was watching one event, Tomorrowland.
Yes.
And at Tomorrowland, you know what they created there? A gym. At Tomorrowland, 100,000 people. There's a section, there's a gym, ne? Where they sell smoothies. You are able to have the dumbbells there. And as you're doing your dumbbells, Rocco or Lance is on stage pumping his sounds. It's because a lot of more people are drinking less. More and more people are aware of their health. That is why even global brands and events are moving towards direction. If you are watching, you are a wannabe event organizer or a promoter, let your event have a cause. Let your event say something. When I come out of an event, let that event have arisen some element of consciousness in me. So if I go to an event, I can get a smoothie, I can get my steps for my watch, I can get everything and still get the best DJs. Wow.
Interesting. What an inspiring conversation with Barba Gaoganediwe. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Barba.